police, show me your hand! Back off! Now! Back off!
Alright y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so today we're checking out a pretty highly requested video. This one was sent to me probably like 20 different times within like the first day that it was actually uploaded. So I appreciate you guys being on your game, but it seems like a cool one because, again, if you guys don't know, when I was in the Marine Corps for about 2 years, I was on the recapture tactics team, or for about 2 years, I was doing like the nuclear deterrent. So I know we've checked out 4-3 Commando. They're kind of like the Royal Marines Commando equivalent of that nuclear deterrent, and this is the police equivalent. So this is called Defending UK Nukes, the Secret Armed Police. Now, I know a while back I was recommended a video about this police unit, but I was kind of waiting for a more up-to-date video because that video was kind of dated. So that's exactly what we got today. So let's check it out. Should be cool.
Echo X-ray 18, Foxtrot Yankee Mike, stand by, stand by.
Some more good stuff from Forces News.
Oh, police! Show me your hands!
Okay, dang, he's got the AR with the ACOG.
Oh, police, stay where you are! Don't move, stay where you are!
And
Stay where you are!
reflex sight.
Stay where you are! Keep your hands where I can see them, do not move! Stay where you are!
Okay, so I guess
the MDP's one of the best.
I know we've checked out a bunch of the firearms units, so I guess this might be like a specialty off of that. So you probably need to go through all those firearms police qualifications before you go into something like this, I would imagine.
Kept secrets, to be honest.
If you see a police car go by, you don't look at that closely at the badge on the door.
I don't think it's widely understood what the force actually does and what capabilities it has.
Put your hands in your head.
I guess that's pretty good.
The Ministry of Defence Police, or MDP, are a unique civilian police force, providing policing and protection for people, key sites and assets for the MOD. The force consists of around 3,000 officers spread across the country, protecting everything defence-related, from married quarters to nuclear submarines. For the national security of the United Kingdom, they are critical.
Yeah, it's a pretty serious job.
Although it's not immediately obvious that these are not the regular police, there's one key difference. The MDP carry firearms.
Well, I know y'all have the firearms police units, so are those inherently different from what the mod police is? I imagine it's kind of just like different departments, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty common that there's firearms police, but I don't know how many firearms police there are compared to the mod police. So if you guys could provide a little bit more insight as far as that sort of separation, please put it down below.
Shouldn't be armed this morning.
No, all good.
1X2, 1 Glock, 1 C8.
C8, okay.
Officers
Okay.
are armed with the Colt C8 as their primary weapon system, plus magazines. The Glock 17
I mean, I don't think this dude needs any more guns because he looks like he's pretty well loaded.
Gen 5 is their secondary weapon system,
Nice.
magazines on the belt, a Taser X2 and battery pack, also wired up beneath the body armour to a camera on the head. They also carry baton, handcuffs and incapacitant spray
A
like
hat
the regular
camera.
police force.
All armed officers carry an array of equipment which provides them
Nice.
with various options from their voice and their
Dang,
own
they have
demeanour and
everything.
their way of negotiating with a person. That's one way of diffusing a situation, right up to the other end of the scale, which is the recourse to lethal force.
I do love how they have all those non-lethal weapons because, again, it is nice. I mean, if you need to go through pepper spray, if you need to move to the taser after that, you can. So you get a little bit more for that continuum of force. Of course, if someone's like trying to like push you, you're not going to immediately go and shoot them unless you think, you know, they might be trying to get your firearm or something. But it's nice to be able to go from something not as serious like pepper spray to something a little bit more serious like a taser, which, I mean, might not be that effective considering it's the UK and people might wear some thick clothing. But again, they do have pepper spray, so that's kind of a nice thing. And then they have some pretty nice firearms, I will say that. Even as an American, a Glock 17 Gen 5 is pretty new. And then they have the C8 with the ACOG and the reflex sight, so it's good stuff.
Police officer with a taser! You've got 50,000 volts pointing right at you. You've got 2 red dots on your chest. Look at them now.
What accent is that?
We're civilian police officers. You know, we're not above the law. We're working under the Queen's peace, not in a war zone.
Former Navy man Russ is a firearms instructor. Today, he's playing the role of an armed subject, which he says is essential for instructors to see close up where students go wrong. Although there are similarities with his previous military career, there are also distinct differences.
They have ballistic shields?
When I was serving in the armed forces, we had rules of engagement cards that basically said what you could and couldn't do, when you could shoot and when you couldn't.
Yeah.
When I joined the MDP, the decision to fire or not was down to the police officer on the ground. And if you can imagine the police officer, whether they decide to shoot or not in that split second, will be poured over by a court or whatever for however long it takes. If we think it's necessary to fire a shot, we fire one shot.
Wow. I gotta say, their CQB tactics look pretty freaking solid. So let's go run through that again. So we can see they're sort of stacking up on here. Now, what he's doing is nice. So he's basically pieing it off. Hopefully they have someone covering the hallway. But he's basically pieing off so he's able to see most of the room before actually going into it.
Police officer on the ground.
And then he goes in, his buddy takes the other corner. And then I love how they're checking out this cabinet. And I do love the way they even did it too, because this guy is close to it so he can open it for this guy who has a little bit more depth on the cabinet. So pretty solid stuff.
It's necessary to fire a shot. We fire one shot, we reassess. If the threat's still there and the shot's still justified, have a follow-up shot.
You in the room! Come to the door!
As soon as the threat is neutralised and we're happy that everyone's safe, the threat no longer exists, then we become the carers.
So the next tactic we're going to show you is a 2-vehicle contain and call out. We've got one subject vehicle, a white van, with one white subject inside. He's been known to carrying firearms. We're going to do our best to stop that vehicle, contain it with the police vehicles, and then try and talk him out of the vehicle. What's actually going to happen, he's a very, very angry white male in that van. He's going to get out, point a gun at our subject, our officers, and they are going to hopefully use some form of force to stop that. If it all goes correctly, this should be a shoot scenario, and then we'll go on to a bit of first aid afterwards.
Oh, please show me your hand!
Yeah, it can unfold so quickly.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Now, if the dude is known for carrying a firearm, which is kind of weird because I didn't even know you could actually legally carry a firearm in the UK. But if he's known for carrying one and all of a sudden he has one and he's all pissed off, it might unfold a little bit differently whenever it's actually going down because they might not want to wait a little bit longer to actually make that shot. But again, that might be one of the rules of engagement. You can see they're actually using their blank firing adapters. So it's nice that they're training on their actual firearms, and it looks like he's actually using his reflex sight as well. So again, they do have a lot of really nice tools for whatever they're doing.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
And they shot in sync too, so that's pretty cool.
Gunshot wound to the upper chest.
We get an ambulance coming.
If we turn up and we use excess force, we fall sort of one side. If we don't use enough force and somebody gets shot or seriously injured, then we'll be criticised either way. So we really do walk that knife edge.
Yeah.
Exercise, command.
Contact, front!
I wonder what the medical training looks like, how
We're
solid
looking
that
after
is.
infrastructure that, if in the wrong hands of the wrong people, could be detrimental to the world.
If you can imagine atomic weapons establishments, Clyde submarine bases are policed by armed MOD police officers. If they were compromised, that would affect the whole, the national security of the UK. So, yeah, it's critical.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine.
If you enjoyed this video,
I know
don't
we
forget
took
to
our
like-
job pretty seriously whenever we were guarding nukes. Now, there was a guard force, which was like the traditional units that would actually drive around and make sure that everything looked neat and tidy, make sure there was nothing weird, people where they shouldn't be and whatnot. And then there was the RTT, which is what I was on towards the end of that, which is basically the people that respond whenever someone is found inside a specific enclosure, because we were able to, know the ins and outs of all of that. So we were able to respond a little bit better. And again, we had a little bit better tools than the traditional guard force. And I could see, again, these guys have some pretty nice tools. So it's nice to have those capabilities so they're not making headlines of, police shooting someone when they shouldn't be or what have you. So again, it's nice to have that. It makes it a little bit easier for them because they have more options and they don't need to jump from one thing to another thing and take this big leap. So it's nice for them. I'm sure it's pretty reassuring for them to have all that stuff as well. But yeah, okay, so we saw some pretty interesting stuff. We saw the room clearing, which looked pretty solid. We saw the ballistic shields, which are nice to have, especially when you talk about like nuclear facilities, because those can get pretty tight. And it's nice to have a ballistic shield because, if you're in like a tight hallway and there's rounds going off, they're just going to be bouncing all over the place. So that can get kind of sketchy. Now, we saw a little bit of the medical training. So actually providing aid after they shot the person, which is cool. But I want to see what kind of medical training they actually get. So I'm not sure if there's any more in-depth videos about this specific police force, but I would definitely love to check it out. So if you guys have any of that, or if you know from experience, if you work with the mod police, put it down below. Let me know how you guys do your training as far as medical training, room clearing, what the training pipeline actually looks like. Because yeah, it seems like some pretty cool stuff. It seems like they get some pretty solid training. And just looking at the people, they seem like they're in pretty solid shape. So I'm sure the kind of selection process for getting into this is pretty scrutinous. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed checking it out. And yeah, it's just, when you're talking about nuclear weapons and that sort of, you know, nuclear deterrence, you're going to need some people, at least some very mature people, who can, you know, deal with a variety of different situations and sort of know how to process them. So yeah, you need people that are quick thinking so they can sort of adapt to all those scenarios and whatnot. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. If you have any other recommendations, continue to throw them down below. I know I got a few recommendations for some Royal Marine videos that I definitely want to check out. But if there's anything else, I know Ross Kemp was a big favorite. So if you guys have any of those you want to throw down below, you can do that as well. But thank you guys for watching. That is it for this video. I'll see you on the next one.